Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Austin Ukulele Society's online meeting for March 2022. I'm so glad you're here this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the first time we are, and I hope this will be an ongoing thing, of continuing our tradition of doing online meetings that we have done for the last 2 years. Even though we have resumed meeting in person here in Austin, we've made so many friends around the world that we want to continue to stay in touch and keep doing online meetings. So this is our first one of those since we resumed meeting in person. So very glad you could be here with us today. Before I go any further, I want to introduce Jen Richardson. Here's a picture of Jen. Jen is my partner in all things related to the Austin Ukulele Society. And during our live stream, she is going to be on the chat. So please do say hello to Jen, give her a shout out. If you're a first timer, let us know in the chat. Wherever you're watching from, let us know where you are. It's always nice to see where folks are tuning in to watch us from. So give a shout out to Jen, say hey, let us know if you're a first timer, let us know where you're watching from. So thanks so much for Jen for all the many things she does to keep the organization going forward. Another thing I want to mention while she's on the chat is, as we're going through our lesson and tutorial tonight, if you have any questions that you would like to put to me, you can put them in the chat. Jen will forward them over to my wife Lida, who is right here to my left, and she can get them to me. So with a couple of minutes delay due to satellites and all that stuff, I can get a question answered to you in pretty close to real time. So do let Jen know if there's something that comes up. It's always really nice to have that kind of communication back and forth, so that it's more like almost like a one-on-one type of lesson. So thank you, Jen, for all that you're doing. Just a quick review of what we're going to do this evening for those of you who are first timers and maybe aren't aware of how we do this. I've got a handful of announcements that I'm going to go through that just takes maybe 5 or 6 minutes to go through and make a handful of announcements. Then we'll play a warm-up song together, and then we will do a tutorial on our featured song. And what we're going to be doing with these online meetings as we go forward, as you may know, but in case you don't, during our in-person monthly meetings on the second Thursday of each month, rather than going through and playing a lot of songs, my approach is to pick a single song. So there's a single featured song, and we do a deep dive on that song. So we look at the chord progressions, the individual chords. We look at the strums and the strum patterns. We even look at picking parts and tablature. We often look at the vocals as well. And we just cut it up into pieces and really study that, and then come back together again and play it as a group together. So we'll be doing that tonight. But one of the maybe downsides of that approach is we do a new featured song every month, and we've got this huge reservoir of songs we've done in the past. And so one of the things I'd like to do through these sessions is to dip into some of my favorite songs that are out there on our music library page, and revisit those for those of you who weren't involved in the AUS back in years past, or who didn't have a chance to come to a live meeting because you're elsewhere in the world. It's a chance to get to go through those songs and to get a tutorial on those songs, and for all of us to sort of revisit those great tunes. And tonight we're going to revisit a song we originally studied back in 2014, Burt Bacharach's Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. It's one of my favorite songs. It's why I chose it to be tonight's featured song. So that will be coming up. We'll go through that. We'll play it together once or twice, and then we will wrap up with our closing song, and then we will finish the evening with our premiere group video, and a little bit more on that in just a minute. Do want to ask, as we've done since the beginning of these virtual meetings, if you would please consider taking a picture of yourself, getting a selfie with your uke, or watching the live stream, or watching a recording if you're not watching it in real time. Get someone in your household to take a picture for you, but send us a selfie, a photo of you It's great. What Jen and I do is we collect those selfies, we make collages of them, we post them on our website, we post them on Facebook. It's just a nice way to kind of create more the sense that we really were all together, and we really were playing together, even though we were not physically together. I don't get a chance to really have a sense of who's out there and who's watching, so it's nice for me to get to associate, faces with folks who are watching. So if you would take a selfie or have a photo made and send it to austinukes@gmail.com. If you could send that by this weekend, Saturday or even Sunday, that would be terrific. That allows Jen to grab those no later than end of day, say Sunday, and then we can make our collages and get them posted. So again, photos to austinukes@gmail.com. I mentioned earlier a group video, and another thing that we've done since the beginning of doing these online meetings is each featured song we do a group video. So for previous songs that were brand new, I recorded a demo video of the featured song. In our songs going forward, we'll be revisiting songs we've done in the past, and we've got a performance of the group singing, for example, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, and we're going to use that as the basis for a group video. And I'm turning that into a play-along, so you can find that song, for example, on our YouTube channel. Don't go there right now, but you can check out Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head on our YouTube channel. And back then, I used to do things in a very simple way. I just, parked a single camera in a corner of the room, turned it on. It was, one take, no mulligans, no do-overs, no whammy. We went through it one time. There wasn't a lot of close-up work, but what I'm doing is I'm taking that, I'm creating a special play-along version of that that'll have the lyrics and the chords. There'll also be kind of a beat so that it'll make it easier to follow the tempo. I've already recorded myself playing along with the group. So if you are interested in participating in that group video project, you can send an email to Jen at austinukes@gmail.com. Please do that again by this weekend, by Sunday. And next week, next Thursday, you'll get an email from Jen with instructions on how to proceed. Basically, what you will have is access to that play-along video I mentioned I'm creating. You will watch that video and record yourself playing along. There'll be instructions in Jen's email that tell you where to get that play-along video and where to upload your video, along with some tips about how to record yourself. And our good friends Paul Butler and Marty Porter will take all of those videos and compile them together into a virtualized group performance. It's the first time we're doing this with one of our old videos, so I'm really, really curious and very excited to see how this is going to turn out. How we're going to make it work with playing with the group. Are there challenges that we're not aware of? I'd be very interested to know what your experience is if you participate in this. So please consider doing that. Again, send an email to austinukes@gmail.com. Jen will be in touch with you next week with instructions on how to proceed with a special play-along version of the video. So you don't have to use the one on YouTube. Wait till you get the instructions from Jen. And she'll have some questions in there like, is it okay for us to put your name and your location on the video? And just so I will entice you to stay till the end, at the end of tonight's live stream, we will be doing the world premiere of our group video featuring last month's song, Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time. And it's just really beautiful. We had over 50 people participate in it, and all the picking part sounds wonderful. There's vocal harmonies. It just sounds beautiful. So I encourage you to stick around to the end to be able to see the world premiere of the group video, Time After Time. Marty and Paul did a fantastic job engineering the audio and putting together the video clips. So you get a sense of what the final product looks like. Please consider joining in. You can also see, by the way, we had 3 weeks ago, we had our first in-person meeting, the first one we've had in 2 years. It's hard to believe. Back in that room again. 100 people came. We played U2's I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. You can find a video of us performing that 3 weeks ago. It's also on our YouTube channel. I want to encourage you to check that out. Again, not right now, but in fact, I've got it queued up. So after the premiere of Time After Time, you'll see our performance of U2's I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. And then there'll be a series of other play-alongs that will be going if you want to continue with the chat after we wrap up. So do check that out. It was just so fantastic to see everybody again and be together with so many folks and everybody just singing out and playing out. It was wonderful. I do want to also, by the way, draw special attention to Aaron Lewis and his U-bass playing on I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. It's really extraordinary. He did just such a great job. And you really have to, the speaker on your phone just does not do it justice. Do yourself a favor and listen to it on headphones, and you will hear Aaron's bass playing. It just adds a whole dimension to the song that's not obvious with the strumming, but it just meshes so nicely. So do check it out, and my salute to Aaron for the great work you did on your bass on I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. So do check that out. It wouldn't be a YouTube video if I didn't encourage you to like and subscribe. If you like what we're doing, like this live stream. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. You will be the first to know when we schedule future events. You'll also get a notification when we post a new performance video of the group playing. You'll also be aware of when we post the group video. Our objective is to try to get the video of Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head posted on our YouTube channel by May 1st. That's the target. So again, you'll get the instructions, and we're going to try to get it out there. But if you are a subscriber, you will get a notification, especially if you hit the bell there to get a notification, you'll know. So if you're not a subscriber, please consider doing it. It helps us reach out to other folks who may not know that we exist. Same thing with liking this. If you like what we're doing, please let us know. I'm very interested to know what you think of the format with revisiting these songs that we've done in the past, and how this is going to work as we go forward. So turn that off. Oh, Austin Ukulele Society t-shirts. As you may or may not know, we come up with, my lovely wife Lyda, who is a graphic artist, designs a new t-shirt for us every single year. This is our design for this year. Let me zoom in just a little bit. This is our Ukuleles Around the World 2022 design. If you are interested in purchasing one of our t-shirts, it's one of the things we make a little bit extra on the t-shirts that allows us to do what we do. It allows us to support our web platform and our domain names and buy supplies when we need them, etc. So you can contact Jen at austinukes@gmail.com if you're interested. You can also go to austinukulelesociety.com. There's a page there called Shop, and it lists all the different designs that we have available. So you can pick and choose what you see there, and you can also send us a message from the website and let us know what you might be interested in. So just something to consider. And I think that's all I have in terms of announcements. Those are all my announcements. So if I've forgotten something, Jen, please let me know, or let Lyda know through the chat, and I will address it. So let's play some music together. As we have done since the very beginning of all of our meetings back in January of 2011, we always warm up with Bob Marley's Three Little Birds. It's just a fantastic 4-chord song. It's a terrific way to limber up our fingers, warm up our voices, and remind ourselves that every little thing is going to be all right. Because it is. At least for the next hour or so, it is. All right, so the strum we're going to do on this is just a real simple down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Just like that. We're going to strum on C. I'll start. When I get the sense that everybody out there is on the same page, I'll count us in and we'll start the song. Okay? So we're going to strum on C. Here we go. C. 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds sit by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Let's do the verse again. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds sit by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Let's do the chorus one more time. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. 'Cause every little thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. One more time. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Yeah. Nicely done. Yes, round of applause. I could tell. Well played. Very good. I should have perhaps pointed out the screen arrangement here for those of you who are first timers. We've got the bob cam here so you can see what I'm doing and what I'm saying and seeing. We also have down here, we have the strum cam so that you're able to get a close-up of what my left and right hands, my fretting hand and my strumming hand are doing. And then over here, we've got the chords and the lyrics and the exercises and examples as we go along forward. So that's basically the setup we have here. I also have the ability to zoom in on the strum can if there's something special that you would, if there's something special you would like me to show you as we go along. All right, so let me switch over to our featured song. Everything going okay so far?
121 viewers.
Good, nice. Thank you everyone for joining in this evening. This is great. Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. This is such a great song. A Hal David, Burt Bacharach number from the soundtrack of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid back in 1969. You know, we did a Burt Bacharach song. Actually, it was the last in-person meeting we had in 2020 before we had to take a 2-year break. we played What the World Needs Now Is Love, which, side note, that's the one thing that hasn't changed. Everything else has changed in 2 years, but that's the one thing that hasn't changed. What the world needs now is love. But Burt Bacharach, such an iconic composer, has some really unique stylings, loves using major 7 chords, loves using minor 7 chords, loves using suspended chords, so you get these wonderful ethereal sort of sounds. This is one of his more approachable numbers in terms of having a fairly constrained number of chords. I think this one has got, what do we have here, 10 chords. What the World Needs Now Is Love has in the order of like 30 chords. I simplified it and cut it down to about 15 or 16, but again, there's just a rich collection of chords in every one of his songs and just some really unique sounds. So, plus I just love doing this song. To me, it's sort of the counterpart to Here Comes the Sun. You know, Here Comes the Sun, another one of my favorite ukulele tunes. Here Comes the Sun, you know, things have been dark and gray and gloomy, but now the sun is coming out. The ice is melting. The smiles are coming back. This song almost takes the same approach. You know, it's rainy, it's gloomy, and you know what? Even if the sun doesn't come out, I'm still going to be okay. And I like that message. Also, we could use some rain here in Texas. We're going through a pretty significant drought here, so getting a little bit more rain would be a good thing. I wish raindrops were falling on my head. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play through the song one time so you get a sense of the arrangement. You can see the chords and lyrics. Of course, if you already know the song, please do play along. And then we will do our breakdown. We'll drill down into the strums, the chords and chord progressions, and how all of those things fit together. Okay? So let me jump over here. And Light, if you wouldn't mind driving, please. So there's just a little strum on the intro. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done, sleeping on the job. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. But there's one thing I know, the blues they send to meet me won't defeat me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. Ba-da, ba-da, da, 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 da. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. Nothing's worrying me. Nothing's worrying me. Yeah, and that's the song. even with my mistake, you know, nothing's worrying me. That's how you know it's live. That's what I always say. You would think I've played this song no less than 1,000 times, but that's the way it goes. Anyway, terrific song. That's the arrangement. Actually pretty straightforward. The interesting thing about this song, not that there are complicated picking parts and things like that, but the variety of chords and the way they fit together, and then some different interesting strum patterns. So let's take a look at that, shall we? Let me get a quick drink. All right. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out are just a couple of rhythm guides that you will see in the arrangement as we go through the slides. The first thing to point out is a vocal rest. It's that little apostrophe, and the idea there is that's a place where we briefly pause for a breath in our singing, but we continue to strum. So for example, we may strum a chord, but we don't start singing right on that downbeat. We delay for a beat before we come in. So here's an example of that you just heard in the ending of the song where, for example, we strum on F, but on the first downbeat of that F, we don't sing, we come in on the second beat. So something like this. Nothing's worrying me. Rest. Nothing's worrying me. Rest. Nothing's worrying me. That idea. And the idea there is that it's an aid, a visual cue to remind you not to jump ahead on the singing so that everybody who's together singing is on the same beat. So that's the first thing to point out is that. The second thing to point out is what I call a hold. And the idea there is it is an interruption in the strum. So rather than continuing to strum through a strum pattern, we do one strum on the downbeat and then we let those notes ring out. So for example, if I'm going to do that, well, let me do it on a G7 since that's the chord that we do most of the holds on in this song. We do like this. And we just let that chord ring out until there's a notation on the sheet that says resume your strumming, okay? So again, it's a single strum and we let those notes ring out. That contrasts with what I refer to as a stop. Now there aren't any in this song. There are in our closing song, On the Road Again. You will see a stop there, so I do want to point it out. But a stop is kind of the opposite in that it's also an interruption in the strum pattern, but rather than strumming the chord and letting the notes ring out, we strum the chord one time and then immediately mute the string. So like this. Like that. So hold, stop, something like that. And you can mute with the, if you look in the strum cam here, you can mute with the side of your palm, which I do, or with the flat of your palm. You can mute with your other, with a finger on your other hand. You can do it with your foot, whatever works best for you to do that mute. But again, there's not any in this song in Raindrops, but in our closing song coming up after this, you will see a stop there. So that's the reason why I do want to point that out. All right, so let's take a look at the strum pattern. Now we have several strum patterns. Well, there's primarily one strum pattern and then there's different variations on it. So let's start by looking at the primary strum pattern. It's a strum pattern that appears in many, many songs. It's kind of the go-to strum pattern on the ukulele, if you will, sometimes called the island strum. And it's like so. I'll strum it at a slower tempo. It's like this. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Join me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up. I want to point out that you'll notice that my arm and hand remains in constant motion throughout that strum pattern. So I'm never changing the up and down motion of my, primarily my forearm and hand. Most of the movement is happening actually from the wrist down, but that movement never stops. What changes is whether or not my fingers are making contact with the string. So in this little diagram you see here, for example, I do a down strum and then I bring my hand back up, but I'm not making contact, and that's why it's grayed out in what you see there. So, and whatever is making contact with the strings where it's black and not making contact, so that could be your fingertips. In my case, it's the nails on my fingertips. If you're a thumb strummer, it's hard to say. If you're a thumb strummer, perhaps that's your thumb, but again, your arm stays in motion, but you're not making contact. So let's do that again. Down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if that's challenging to play, if you're fairly new to the strum, and you want to give yourself more time to get your fingers in place for the next strum, you can always do 1, 2, 4, 2, 3. You can always just do one strum per 4-beat pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So whatever makes it more accessible for you, please feel free to do that. Just challenge yourself as much as you feel comfortable with. Maybe there's some chords that you are comfortable with, and so you can do that full strum. Other ones, maybe you need to take a little bit of a break and just do one strum. It's perfectly fine. So that's our strum. The other kind of thing to point out about this strum is that it's not, strictly speaking, a straight and rigid 4-beat strum. It's got kind of a rolling quality to it. In other words, it's not... if we were playing a more strident song, we might do that more kind of a straight 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. In this song, it's a lot more laid back, right? So there's kind of a rolling quality to it. The raindrops keep falling on my head. So it's all cool and chill and relaxed. So through this song, most of the chords take up the entire 4-beat strum pattern. So in other words, when we play a chord, the entirety of that chord will be using that one strum pattern. There are, however, a few exceptions where we have 2 chords that share the 4-beat pattern. And what we do in those cases is simply restart the pattern for the second chord. In those cases, the intro is a good example where we're playing C, G, F, G. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And we simply resume the strum pattern as we change each one of those chords. And so if you look at the little diagram here and look at the first 3 beats, you'll see that in fact the first 3 are actually identical to what we're playing in this drum pattern. We're just restarting the up, 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 up. So let's just do that together. 1, 2, 3, and down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course, if that's challenging for you, you can again just play one strum per chord. What would be beats 1 and beats 3. So for example, in the intro, and I know the chords aren't on the screen at the moment, they will be momentarily, where we do the C, G, F, C, G, F, G. You could, if that was challenging, simply do C, G, F, G, C, works fine. And in fact, if we were all together in the same room together, it actually sounds quite nice when some people play the major downbeats and others are doing the full strum. So I always tell people, never hesitate to simplify those strums if that helps you to be able to navigate through the song. Feel free to do that, all right? Okay, so let's take a look at the chords. There are 10 chords in this song. Nothing terribly exotic, but we'll take a look at some of them as we go through their chord progressions. I think in this song, it's probably the best way to take a look at the chords is to examine them in context. So let's take a look at that. Here's what I was just playing. So this is the chord progression that appears in the intro of the song. It's an 8-beat pattern, so 2 4-beat strum patterns, right? 2 beats per chord. So we have 2 chords that equally share those 4 beats, just like we were doing. So we're doing this strum, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Once again, I should restate that that strum pattern, again, is not a rigid 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not like that. It's not more of a march and a very strident pattern. It's more of a again, where we get kind of that rolling, very gentle feel to it. And we do G, 2 beats on C, 2 on G, same on F, and on G. So let's play that together. It'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, G, F, G. Join in. C, G, F, G, C, G, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, G, 2, F, 2, G, 2. One more time. And of course, this is the pattern of chords that's played actually in 2 spots in the song. It's played during the intro, and it's also played at the part that comes at the end of the last verse, where we do the because I'm free, nothing's worrying me, nothing's worrying me. So that pattern that you see here appears in those 2 places, at the beginning and at the end. Okay? So let's look at this next chord progression. This is a classic. This appears in many songs, so learning this chord progression in C is something that you can apply to a lot of different songs. So what we do here is we're playing a C major. Now I tend to play and recommend to folks to play this C major using your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. Then when we do our C major 7, we switch to our middle finger. Then we follow that with a C7, for which I use my index finger. And then we go to F. So to repeat that, it's C, it's a C major with an added major 7, a C major major 7. Shell, I did get that joke. C, C major 7, C7, and then F, okay? And it's 4 beats on each one. We're not splitting the strum pattern in multiple chords. It's all just 4 beats per chord. And again, the strum we're doing is... So let's do that together. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and C, major 7. Sorry, I just said 4 beats. 4 beats. Here we go. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. C major 7, 3. C7, 2, 3, 4. F. Let's do that again. C, C major 7. C7, and F. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Again. C, C major 7, C7, and F. Very good. That, of course, is the first line of each one of the verses. Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big for his, is what we have there. So hopefully that all made sense. Again, that's we've seen that in other songs. The one that I keep thinking of is Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell Rock, or rocking around for Christmas. Anyway, there's a bunch of songs that we've done that utilize that walk down. Oh yeah, have a holly jolly Christmas. That's the one I was thinking of. 2 Christmas songs, interesting. Anyway, so here we have, following that in the verses, we kind of return back to what we saw in the intro, 2 beats per chord. In this case, an E minor 7 and an A7. 2 beats on one, 2 beats on the other, and we just go back and forth between the E minor 7 and the A7. And just to kind of show you the way that I recommend doing this is the E minor 7 is essentially the G chord. It's like a G major or a G7 if you want to think of it that way, but without anything in the middle. So your E string is left open. Has that, again, kind of this, that minor 7 sort of ethereal, unsettling sound to it. Now, I recommend doing that using the middle finger and the ring finger, almost as if I were playing a G7, but just lifting up the index finger and using that index finger as kind of the place where I'm going to go back to my A7. So I have E minor 7, A7, E minor 7, A7. And when we go back and forth with that, it sounds like this. E minor 7, A7, E minor 7, A7. So let's do that together, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and E minor 7, A7, E minor 7, A7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, E minor 7, A7, E minor 7, A7. Yeah, very good. Question? Everything good? All right, awesome. Although I do like questions, so don't hesitate. All right, and this next chord progression is kind of what wraps up each one of the verses. And we have this chord, a D minor 7, which is played just like, I'm trying to get my fingers right in the camera, played just like a regular D minor chord, except that we're going to add that flatted 7th note, a C major, up here on the 3rd fret of the A string, right? So we're going to use our pinky finger to hold down that C note. Now, I will tell you this. In almost every case, of course, with music, it's hard to make broad, sweeping statements that are always true. But generally speaking, when you're confronted with a minor 7 chord, it's generally okay to simply play the plain minor. So if you find it challenging to play that D minor 7, which has that sound like this, you can always simply play a D minor. So instead of D minor 7, you could simply play a D minor. That would be perfectly fine. And in fact, if you were with a group of people and some were playing the D minor 7 and others were playing the D minor, the overall effect of the ensemble would be a D minor 7. So that's perfectly fine if that is challenging for you. Excuse me. One thing that I do with the D minor 7, so here's a dirty little secret about how I tend to do the D minor 7. You may have heard it when I went through the song the first time. Generally, I personally do find it challenging to, for example, to go from almost any chord directly to a D minor 7. That is, to plant all 4 of my fingers down in this configuration to make a D minor 7. What I tend to do, for example, like in this song, is I get to the D minor for the first beat, and once I've established that, then I plant my pinky finger. So in other words, once I'm settled into my D minor shape with my fingers, I then lay down my pinky finger. So it ends up sounding something like this. Did you hear that first downbeat was actually just a straight D minor? So for example, in this song, a crowd turns up for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the... So again, that first beat, never gonna stop the... I find that's helpful, and I think a lot of folks find that helpful too on this chord, because again, in a lot of cases, we don't have a lot of precision control over our pinky finger. And so I find it helpful to simply stick the D minor and then get my pinky finger once I've got myself oriented. And usually that's by beat number 2. So let's play this together. What we're going to do is 4 beats on D minor 7, 4 beats on D minor, and then we do our old friend, the hold, on a G7. Okay? It'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. Okay? So let's play that together. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and D minor 7, D minor 7, G7, hold, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And by the way, getting from that D minor to the G7, for those of you who have participated in these online sessions before, you know that I like to use anchors to pivot on, that is, so that I can move gracefully from one chord to the next without having to glance down at what I'm doing. And this D minor to G7 transition is a pretty easy one to do that. So for example, if I'm here in my, let me just go to this view. If I'm here in my D minor shape, I can leave my index finger planted here on the first fret of my E string and then move my other 2 fingers over to the G7 position. Middle finger on the 2nd fret of C, ring finger on the 2nd fret of A. So I can go back and forth with my index finger planted in place and without having to move it. It just makes it makes it handy because I feel like I don't need to look down, glance down to see where my hands are, because I'm leaving one finger planted in place as an anchor to kind of guide where I'm going to go. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Let's play this one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and D minor 7, again, and G7. Yeah. All right. So let's put all of that together. So all the things we've done so far, except for the intro, these chord progressions all fit together, and this is what makes the verse. Okay, so let's go through this together, and in fact, we'll circle back to the beginning. We'll go through this whole thing, and then circle back up to the top, and go through, and circle back up to the top. We'll do that 2 or 3 times, okay? And we'll do that at a relatively modest tempo, a little bit slower than the way we would do it if we were doing the song. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and C, C major 7, C7, and F. Here we go, E minor 7, A minor, E minor 7, A minor. G7 hold, 2, 3, 4, C, C major 7, C7, G7, hold, 3, 4, again. F, E minor 7, D minor 7, G7, hold, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Question? Yes. Good.
Thought-
Love questions.
Thoughts on a bar D minor 7 followed by a bar G7?
Oh, yes. So the question was, what are my thoughts on a barred D minor 7 and a barred G7? Absolutely. So let me explain. So we were looking at the D minor 7 in this configuration down here in agreement with the chord diagram that you see there, where we're playing it down here. Let me get my fingers in the right place. Yeah. You can also play a D minor 7 by barring all of the strings at the 5th fret. That's also, it's the same notes of a D minor 7, just a different configuration or a different ordering of the notes. In ukulele parlance, we tend to talk about positions like this would be first position D minor 7. This might be second position D minor 7. There are others. Other instruments, you tend to hear that referred to as a transposition. I think that's the word. Actually, that's not the word. The word escapes me at the moment. Somebody smart out there will put it in the chat. But you can play that as a bar chord. You're exactly right. You can also play a G7 then up here with your bar all the strings, the way I do it, I bar all the strings at the 7th fret, and then I put my middle finger on the 8th fret of the A string. So you could do this chord progression like so. So you could do that up high on the neck. Perfectly fine. So if that was the question, yeah. In fact, I sometimes do that when I'm playing with other folks, when we're going through that song. I will sometimes, in fact, not just the D minor 7 and the G7. I'll do that too with the E minor 7, which is a bar chord on the 7th fret. And a bar up here on 9 with the middle finger on 10. That's an A7. In fact, you know, there's different, A7 is just such a great chord because you can play A7 like that, like that, like that, like that. So any one of those combination of things that works for you, I like to do, for example, it's not for me, no, I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, dum dum. Yeah, so again, totally agree if those work for you. I haven't worked them into this tutorial, but it's the great thing about this song is that most of these chords do lend themselves to doing bar chords up the neck. Was there a follow?
Was the word inversion?
Inversion. That was the word.
Two smart people.
Thank you. Inversion. Inversion. Sometimes you hear that referred to like on guitar or piano. Basically, all it means is it's the same set of notes, but they're in a different order because you have your hand in a different position on the fretboard. Most of the time, among ukulele players, I hear them referred to as a position. Like, you know, this would be first position A7, second position, third position, fourth position, and etc. So yes, absolutely. That is a great way to, or you can go down to a second position, G7. G7 being one of those things that works very nicely in multiple positions. And yes, maybe this is something we can do in a future tutorial. I do in fact use my thumb, not always, but when it's convenient to do so, I do tend to use my thumb with these inversions up the neck. It's there. Why not use it? I've gotten I've been chewed out before for using my thumb, but I think it's fair game. Anyway, so let's go ahead and play this same pattern of chords. Let's play this in the context of the lyrics now, okay? So, Light, if you wouldn't mind navigating us through, it's like only 2 or 3 slides. So here we go. It's the same thing. We're just going to have the words now. So here we go. 1, 2, A 1, 2, ready, and raindrops are falling on my head. And just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. And we end on that hold. Let's do that one more time. And of course, in the song, we circle back to the C again, just like we did when we were going through the exercise. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and raindrops are falling on my head. And just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops keep falling on my head, they keep falling. Yeah, so and there you see I did a couple of the inversions there on those other chords. So we've got the verse. That's the verse. So let's look now at the bridge. The song is really interesting because it really doesn't have a chorus. It's kind of interesting, unless you want to call the "Because I'm free, nothing's worrying me, because I'm free, nothing's worrying me," if that's the chorus. But really, in a sense, there's not really a chorus here. There's kind of a bridge or a pre-chorus, but we never really get a full chorus. But whatever we call this, I called it a bridge because it takes us from verse 2 to verse 3, and then from verse 3 to the end. Let's break this down. So here we have the very same chords. If we look at this top line here, we have the very same chords that we saw in the intro, except instead of playing them 2 beats per chord, they're 4 beats per chord. It's the only difference. We play C, G, F, G, but we play them 4 beats per chord. Then we wrap that up with 4 beats on E minor. And of course you can play E minor like so, with index on 2 on A, middle finger on the 3rd fret of your E string, ring finger on the 4th fret of your C string. A shortcut, or in this case it works really well, kind of an alternate way of doing is, because we're going from a G chord to an E minor. Let me zoom in a little. You can go from G, so here's my G chord, and then I'm just going to lay down my pinky finger on the 3rd fret of my C string, leaving my other fingers in place. And that gets us an E minor. So G, I'm deliberately moving it out of the way, but we go from G major to E minor, G major to E minor. So if you're into transitioning from one chord to another with a minimum of motion, with no wasted steps, that's a good way to do it, because the only thing that's changing is the application of your pinky in there. So let's go ahead and play this. We've played it before, just with more short transitions between the chords. Here it's a little more relaxed, 4 beats per chord. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and C to G to F to G, E minor. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and C, G to F, back to G, to E minor. Yeah, and of course this is the place where we're singing, but there's one thing I know, the blues they send to meet me won't defeat me. Yeah, so the second part of that, so let's look at the bottom line of that progression, the B part, if you will. We're already on E minor, right? So we're going to play our 4 beats of E minor, then an additional 4 beats of E minor, then we're going to go to A minor 7, and then we wrap up with 4 beats on our D minor 7. So it's E minor for 4, E minor for 4, A7, D minor 7. So let's play that together. So 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and E minor, E minor, A7, D minor 7. Or, sorry, I didn't finish the 4 beats. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and E minor, E minor, A7, D minor 7. And again, you probably noticed when I played that D minor 7, again, the first beat, the 1 count, tends to be, for me anyway, just a plain old D minor, and then I get my pinky finger planted to add that flatted 7th note to make it a D minor 7, adding that C note. So it sounds more like. Now, of course, you can play as, I don't know who it was who proposed the bar chords. You can, in fact, play, for example, E minor, A7, D minor 7. I tend to do that myself, the E minor, A7, D minor 7. Again, keeping in mind that that D minor 7 can also be played as a bar chord on the 5th fret. You could do that A7 way up here. Something like that, but that's a discussion for another day. Let's put those two, the A and the B, the top line and the second line, together. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and C, 2, 3, 4, G, to F, 2, 3, G, E minor again, A7, D minor 7. Let's do that one more time. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing great. Here we go. Do this one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and C, G, F, G, E minor again, to A7, to D minor 7. Okay? Now, at the end of each one of these bridges, there's a little interlude. It's an 8-beat interlude that is very similar to the intro, but it has a slightly different strum pattern. In my view, this is, I almost hate to say this because it can make it so, but it's really the only kind of tricky part about this song, in that there's a chord transition that appears in a place that doesn't appear elsewhere in the song. And so I want to point that out. We have basically the same strum pattern. Really the only difference is there's an extra up strum. So instead of doing, there's a. So let's just do that together. Just that strum pattern without thinking about the chords or the chord changes at this point. So I'll start off and then you join in. And I'll do it a little bit more slowly. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and down, up, 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 down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, again, it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And what's interesting is that the chord change in this little part happens not on the down strum of the 3 count, but actually a half a beat before that on the up strum. Okay? So instead of being what we see in the intro, so I'll play the intro first, where it's this is just going back and forth on the F and G chords, and it's like this. 1, 2, 3, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Let's try that together, and it's just repeated twice. So this would be that transition one time, and this is that progression 2 times. So again, let me play that again. It's 1, F and G, 1, 2, 3, G, F, 2, 3, G, F, G, F and 2, G. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Let's play that again together a few times. In fact, let's just do it really super slow just to kind of get more of a feel for it. So 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and F. That chord transition from the F to the G happens on the up strum rather than being on the down strum. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It's something to practice. If you listen to our group performance video from 2014, you will notice that not everybody gets it, so don't let it disrupt your tranquility if that's not something that you're able to pull off on the first time. It takes a little bit of practice. But it creates kind of this nice bouncy sense, and I imagine that's why Bacharach, as the composer, chose to do that, in that it creates this sort of anticipatory energy by unexpectedly jumping to that next chord earlier than you expect it to, and so it just injects some additional energy and motion into the song. So let's go through all of what we've just done. As far as the bridge is concerned. So let me play through it once just to give you a sense. And then we have our kind of unusually timed chords down there in the bottom row. So it goes like this. C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, back to G, to our E minor again, to A7, to D minor 7, and then let's all play that together. 1, 2, a 1, 2, ready, and C, G, F, to G, E minor again, A7, D minor 7. To C. Actually, we can just continue going on that. Any questions about that FG transition that appears at the end of the bridge? Don't hesitate to ask if there's something I can help redo or clarify on that. So let's look at this set of chords in context by looking at the lyrics. Lyda, would you mind driving us through on this? So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let me think about this because we have some words. So 1, 2, 2. Yeah, so it'll be like so. 1, 2, 1. But there's one thing I know. The blues they send to meet me won't defeat me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. And it just back to C when we restart a verse afterwards. So let's go through that again. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Sorry. I have to allow for those lead-in words. So here we go. 1, 2, 1. But there's one thing I know. The blues they send to meet me won't defeat me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. F and G, raindrops, da-da, etc. Okay? Make sense? I hope so. So now we'll basically look towards the end of the song, where basically what we do there is we repeat verse 3 and we go into our ending. Okay? So let's just walk through it real quickly. It's basically the same structure of chords that we've seen previously, the same as verse 1 and verse 2. So for example, it starts off with a C. Raindrops keep falling on my head. We have that C major 7, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining. And now we have that hold, but instead of going into another verse, did me some talking to the sun, or going into a bridge, but there's one thing I know, we go into this kind of, I don't know if you could call it the chorus or not, but we go into a chord pattern that's exactly the same as the intro. C, G, F, G, C, G, F, and G. Except now we've got lyrics on top of it, where we go, because I'm free, nothing's worrying me. And Light, if you wouldn't mind, it's just 2 slides from this one to the next one. No, it's no problem. So here we go. We can do this together. So here we go. Oh, and I just as a reminder, on that F, we do 1 strum on the first count of the 4, and then we say nothing. So it's nothing's worrying me. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. I keep forgetting there's leading words here. So I'll sing those. 1, 2, 1. Because I'm free, nothing's worrying me. Nothing's worrying me. And then we do a hold. Nothing's worrying me. And if you watch the performance video, I asked people to kind of look towards me for direction, because those holds are not in tempo. They're directed. So we do a hold on the F, strum, nothing's worrying me, like so. And that is the whole song. Now you know the whole thing from start to finish. So let's roll back to the beginning and play through the song together. Were there any questions as we went along?
Just lots of talking about different ways they're playing.
Oh, oh, good. Lots of different ways to play these chords. Yeah, they're really terrific.
Some are using bars, some are using thumbs.
Bars and thumbs. Those are good things to use on chords. So let's go through this. You ready, Lina? So here we go. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, and. Again. Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun. thing. I know the blues they send to meet me won't defeat me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. Raindrops are falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. Raindrops keep falling on my head. It doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. Nothing's worrying me. Nothing's worrying me. Yeah, very nice. Excellent. I hope you enjoyed that. I think that's just such a fun song. It's a great ukulele song. And for those of you who are maybe starting to do open mics as we get into the summer, this would be a great song to play as a ukulele solo. It's just such a happy song to sing, and essentially it's just strumming and singing. So it's a lot of fun.
Somebody just tuned in and they want to know if the recording is available soon, tomorrow. So just tell them how the video works.
Oh, so the question was, will the recording be available? And I'm assuming what you mean is maybe the recording of what we just did.
They just tuned in.
Yeah, so what we're doing right now, ever since we started at 7 o'clock Central Time, will be recorded. Rather, it is being recorded, and as soon as we're done, it will be available. So you can watch it immediately. So if you want to start it back from the beginning, you can do that. I do think it takes about an hour or so for the chat to keep up, by which I mean, as we've been going through the evening, people have been chiming in on the chat. I know Jen's fingers are flying madly, usually by the end of this. And what YouTube does is it compiles all of that, so as you're watching the video, the live chat unfolds in real time. But I think it takes them a little while, maybe an hour or so, for them to compile that. But that doesn't mean you can't watch the video. So all of our live streams, since the very first one we did in April of 2020, all of them, I leave them live on the YouTube channel, so no worries. If the recording you mean is the recording of the Austin Ukulele Society playing this song back a few years ago, it's already on our YouTube channel. In fact, I bumped it to the top of our favorites playlist. So if you go to the Austin Ukulele Society main channel page, there's a section there called Popular Favorites, and Raindrops is right there at the top. So you can listen to that as well. So I hope that answers the question. Awesome. Hey, I think we should play this song again. We've got time. In an unaccustomed fashion, we're actually a little bit ahead of schedule, so that's all good. So I'm not even going to take a poll. We're just going to jump back to the beginning and go through this song again from the beginning. I hope you're all on board with that. All right, here we go. So 1, 2, a 1, 2, ready, and. First one. Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just just did me some talking to the sun. And I said I didn't like the way he got things done, sleeping on the job. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. But there's one thing I know, the blues they send to meet me won't defeat me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. Da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. Nothing's worrying me. Last time through. Nothing's worrying me. Yeah. And just as a side note, I should mention, when you listen to the 2014, it's hard to believe we did that song 8 years ago as the big group. If you listen to that recording from 2014, you'll hear that some folks chose to harmonize that last me by singing the other two notes in that C chord. So instead of doing nothing's worrying me, which is that E note, nothing's worrying me, they maybe dropped back to the C note, nothing's worrying me, or jumped up to that G note, nothing's worrying nothing's worrying me. So that last note is in addition to being a strummed C chord, also is a vocal C chord. Some folks did that. You'll hear that. It sounds very pretty. So if you're doing the play along group video, feel free to do that. It sounds really nice.
There was a question about the ba-da-da, that part.
Oh, okay. Question about the ba-da-da? Yes?
I just wanted you to go over that. Can you review the ba-da-da, that part?
So there was a request to review the ba-da-da. And basically, it's what all we're doing here is, in fact, when we have the Austin Ukulele Society has a smaller performance group, the Austin Ukulele Society Ensemble, and we do performances. So we go to assisted living facilities, we've played at libraries, we've played at other events around town. This is a song we do, and we have a kazoo player in the group, Walter. I don't know if you're out there watching Walter, but Walter always plays kazoo on this part. Da 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 da. So basically, it's the melody of the bridge, where in the first time around we would sing, but there's one thing I know, the blues they send to meet me won't defeat me. And here we're just doing ba da ba da 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 da. So I hope that makes sense. The chord changes are indicated at the appropriate da. So, and it basically there's a da for every syllable in the, but there's one thing I know, etc., etc. I hope that makes sense. If it
No strumming, right?
Oh, there is strumming.
See, there's, okay.
Oh yeah, so there definitely is strumming. So we continue to strum throughout this. So let me just play that. 1, 2, 3, ba da. Da 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 da. And then we do, it won't be long till happiness. So it's just to add a little variety that we're singing the da 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 instead of redoing the words from the first part of the bridge. I hope that answers your question. If it didn't, please put a note in the chat and I will try to answer it more precisely. I always try to do that. So we've gone through the song a couple of times. I hope you enjoyed that. I really love this song. And I think what we'll do now is transition to our wrap-up song. So let me cut over here and get that queued up. But before we do that, let me just restate a couple of things. First of all, thank you so much for joining this evening. If you're a first-time watcher, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Let us know in the chat or down in the comments below what you thought of this. Did you enjoy this? Was this worthwhile? Is there something we could be doing better? If you liked what we're doing, consider liking this video. If you would like to be alerted about more of these things as they come up and new material as we get it posted, consider subscribing to the Austin Ukulele Society's YouTube channel. Thank you, Jen, for all that you do to make these events go so smoothly and everything that you do for making the Austin Ukulele Society keep moving. Please do give a shout out and a big thank you to Jen. If you're still on the live chat, please do that. Thank you so much for all you do, Jen. A reminder that if you would please, if you haven't done so, take a photo of yourself with your uke or watching the live stream. Send it to us here at austinukes@gmail.com by this weekend, Saturday or Sunday. What would that be? April 2nd, 3rd. So by the 3rd of April at the latest, get those selfies to us. We'll compile them together and get them posted on our website and on our Facebook page. Thanks very much for considering doing that. The group performance video. So we're going to be doing a group video of Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, the song we just went over. We're going to take the group video that was done in person several years ago, and we're going to have folks sing along with that, recording themselves, and compile that into a group performance video. So if you would like to participate in that, again, send a note to austinukes@gmail.com by Sunday, letting Jen know that you are interested in being a participant in this month's featured song group video project. Next Thursday, Jen will send you an email with instructions on how to proceed, where to find a play-along video that I'm putting together of this song that will have the group singing and playing, me singing and playing, so you can see me in close-up as you do here, as well as the chords and the lyrics all presented together on the same screen with instructions on how to record yourself and where to send your finished recording. And then Marty Porter and Paul Butler will compile all of those things together into a delightful video, which we hope to premiere on the 1st of May, on May Day. So again, send a note to austinukes@gmail and just let us know you're interested in participating. It's not a firm commitment, no harm, no foul, if you decide you've got other things going on, but please do consider it. Even if all you're going to do is sing, or all you want to do is strum, or all you want to do is do one strum per chord, it's all good. Please consider doing that. And just a reminder, in just a few minutes, we're going to do the world premiere of our group video of last month's featured song, which was Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time. And it's just beautiful. Marty and Paul did a fabulous job on it, as did all of you who participated. I think I mentioned there's over 50 people who participated in this group video. It's just really fantastic, and it sounds great from beginning to end. So do stick around and watch that. Austin Ukulele Society t-shirts available. Go to austinukulelesociety.com/shop to be able to see the different styles and sizes that are available. You can send Jen a note from there, or you can also email austinukes@gmail.com. Let us know that you're interested. Our next in-person meeting, we will be meeting in person on April 14 at the Memorial United Methodist Church here in Austin. So if you're in Austin, on the 14th of April, we will be there playing our featured song To Be Announced 1 week from this very day, so a week from today, I'm putting the final touches on our featured song for April. Jen will be sending out the email announcement with links to the charts. Next Thursday, that'll be coming out. And our plan is to meet here again online on June 23rd. That's our current plan on meeting in person. Jen and I would be very interested in knowing your thoughts on this. Is this working? Did you like revisiting this previous song? Anyway, just let us know your thoughts on this. If this is something that's really working for folks, I would like nothing more, and I know Jen would be very pleased to be able to continue to stay in touch with folks who are not available to come to our in-person meetings, but would still like to have that connection with what we're doing. I really love doing this, and I would love to continue doing it if you would as well. So let us know. Jen and I don't want to lose those connections that we've made during this time. And if you're visiting Austin, plan to do so around the second Thursday of the month, and you can join us in an in-person meeting, just like we had. Well, I'm looking at you, Arlene. We were delighted to see you here in Austin for our first reunion meeting after our long break. So look forward to doing that. So let's go ahead and play our closeout song and say goodnight. As we have done for all of our meetings since the first time we met back in January of 2011, we always close out before heading on the road again by playing Willie Nelson's On the Road Again. So again, we've got a, get this in focus. So strum pattern here. Actually, it's the very same strum pattern we were doing on Raindrops. The little bit peppier on this song. It's more of a country song. But again, we're going to strum on C. I'm going to count us in, and then we'll play the song on through. So here we go. We'll just, again, strum on C, and I'll count us in when we're ready. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. Life I love is making music with my friends. And I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. Going places that I've never been. Seeing things that I may never see again. And I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. Like a band of gypsies we go down the highway. We're the best of friends, insisting that the world keep turning our way. Here comes a stop, and our way is on the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. Life I love is making music with my friends. And I can't wait to get on the road again. And I can't wait. I can't wait to get on the road again. One last time. And I can't wait to get on the road again. Thank you so much again for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. I love playing ukulele. I love to play it with folks who love it too, just like you. So thanks very much. Stay tuned for our group video time after time, and we'll see you next time. Bye now. One, two, 1, 2, ready, and.
Caught up in was great. Thank you, Bob.
One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Only to be with you.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and.
Thank you, AUS and us, happy together.